Hello and welcome to Soul's Compass Healing. My name is Brianne Lazinski and I'm going to be speaking with you about this full moon in Cancer kicking off 2025. I am going to start this video by saying that I am recording this within the last couple hours of the lunar nodes being in the Aries-Libra axis. And so I would like to use an analogy to describe what, especially the beginning, but most of 2025 really is to me, is the slingshot drawback year, right? When that slingshot is being drawn back, it is becoming more and more empowered. And then there's time to be sort of looking clearly at the various targets and getting very crystal clear about our intention and where we want to release this slingshot in the middle of 2026 when we have our next nodal shift, and the North Node will be in the sign of Aquarius, which will be ruled by Pluto. So we have snowballs falling from the trees today. Hopefully the camera doesn't get knocked over. I want to talk about when nodal shifts happen, there is this phenomena of feeling the weight of the south node, the cost of the south node, the shadow of the south node, the pain of unfinished business with the south node. That usually comes up first, and this is being informed by observation and correlation, which is what evolutionary astrology is. And so when I see this, I see that it is very possible for us to be feeling increasingly this sort of sense of analysis paralysis, or self-doubt, or self-critique, or getting stuck in outdated victimhood or martyrdom. And this can very much be coming up to the surface right now. Why? Because Jeffrey Wolf Green taught in evolutionary astrology, which is life, because evolution is life, we always pick up where we left off. Always. There is no cutting corners, right? Even when we do that, there's a thing called skip steps, which shows up and says, I don't think so. You're not cutting that corner, soul. So yeah, it's a thing. And so for each of us, we are picking up where we left off with all things Virgo in our own unique way. Obviously, I'm speaking to the collective right now, so I'm speaking in very general terms. But we can be asking God, why me? Why here? Why now? In a world that feels increasingly unsafe every single day. And with the South Node being ruled by Mercury, we can be asking, well, how am I supposed to contribute and make actual, real, effective change? And it starts with this inward self-adjustment, right? Because the reality is that all people contribute to the collective mess. Some people clean up the collective mess, and some people are honing their service to humanity through all of this. And so probably the vast majority of people are all doing this simultaneously to some degree, right? And I say we all contribute to the collective mess because nobody is perfect. And so we all have a shadow, and if there is somebody who denies that fact, they are somebody who is very dangerous, because anybody who denies a part of themselves, especially their shadow, actually I'm only speaking to that right now, anyone who denies their shadow is living proof. They are telling you that their shadow is running them. It is in the driver's seat of their life, and so they are very dangerous, and they are to be avoided. And with the South Node being in Virgo, we can have this magnifying glass on ourselves, right? Where it's like really, really feeling into our contribution, our part in the collectiveness or collective mess, whatever you prefer to call it. And it's important that when we are doing this self-assessment, we are creating this safe space for all parts of ourself to come forward. So this is the medicine of this full moon in the sign of Cancer conjoined Mars, right? And why I'm saying all parts need to be welcome is because there are parts of ourselves, we all have them, that we would naturally prefer to deny their existence or to divert away from, right? Because it's like, ooh, that's the too much basket. That's the I don't know how to deal with you basket. That's the that's the I'm actually afraid of you basket, you know? And so we have these parts of ourselves that when they get denied, they get locked and put in a place where their evolution is stagnant. And they come up and out in distorted ways because they are repressed, right? That's when they become problems or issues or complexes in our life. And so, with this full moon in the sign of Cancer, conjoined Mars, in a world that feels unsafe, where there is no felt sense of safety out there in the world, we have to create it for ourselves. And another core teaching of Jeffrey Wolf Green's evolutionary astrology was that evolution occurs through the emotional body. Why? Because that's where we clock, we take into account, our soul notices what has happened and therefore will carve a new path forward. When we have a big cry, when we have a big anger release, it's like that is being felt by the soul. That catharsis is running through the soul and is informing the soul, I am going to avoid making that mistake again, or I am going to do X, Y, and Z in the future differently. And so taking the time out for ourselves to experiment. It's an experiment. It's an experiment. It always is. We never come knowing. Experimenting with how can I create a felt sense of safety for my unique nervous system, right? And so this is what I do when I assist people in my one-on-one services, because the world, we don't know how to do it. Nobody has taught us how to create a felt sense of safety within ourselves in order to meet these parts of ourselves that maybe we'd rather not, in order to feel the emotions that we have repressed. And so the inner child instinctively and intuitively knows what a felt sense of safety is. However, it is very difficult to get to because of so much conditioning that we have that is layered and layered and layered and layered and layered on top of the inner child's voice. It makes it so hard to hear. And so, yeah, it becomes very, very clear to us that there must be this sense of security for the inner child, and this is not something that comes overnight. Okay, so this is not something that is like, oh, all you have to do is this one ritual or this one inner child meditation, and then like you and your inner child are going to be sweet, you're going to take on the world, it's going to be awesome. No, it does not happen overnight. It happens in layers, and it takes time. And it's so important for us to be taking this time out for ourselves and our inner child healing, because Mars is trine Neptune at the time of this full moon, which it can be very easy to feel pulled into the collective repressed emotions, which can feel very heavy because they're very repressed and they become very distorted. And so it's important to Mars have boundaries around that, right? In order to not feel overwhelmed by that, and in order to go inward and feel what is ours to feel, because that, and in doing so, that is a service to the collective, as I said in the new moon video. And Mars is also trine Juno in the sign of Scorpio. So as we're culminating this huge theme around relating and our authenticity, we can be really feeling the emotions of like, what has actually occurred in the last year and a half? Like, let's take time out to clock that, to like have the cry, let the grief come out, let the anger come out, let the whatever needs to come out, so that we can be moving forward in our evolutionary journey, so that we can be clocking this, so that we can be knowing that it is being felt and therefore things are going to be different in the future. What else? I want to talk about how the emotional, when we look out into the world, do we see emotional intelligence? I don't very often see emotional intelligence. And this is something that is very, very clear to me the more and more that I observe and correlate sort of like mass sort of teachings and new age stuff out there. It's very much proclaiming to be rooted in the divine feminine while simultaneously demonizing it, because the divine feminine is emotional intelligence, is the full spectrum of emotions are allowed and are okay. We don't deny any emotions, right? They all have their valid place. They all inform us of certain things. And so why does the world do this? Because it doesn't know how to deal with it. And so I have compassion for that, right? There needs to be a felt sense of safety and a felt sense of security in order to feel that which we do not want to feel. So I have compassion for it, but I do not tolerate it, and I do not condone it, and I do not teach that. Yeah. I want to be very, very clear that when I am speaking about these things, I am speaking from a place of compassion, okay? When I'm calling out things that I disagree with, it's coming from that place. Interestingly, we have Venus now in the sign of Pisces, and she is conjoined with Saturn at the time of this full moon. And at worst, this can feel like, you know, after this relationship review, this can feel like futility, a lost sense of hope around, you know, if relationships actually can be reciprocal, actually can be in alignment with what actual love is, in a world that has lost the plot on it. And that's hard. That's hard, right? That can also be something that we can be processing as Mars is actually a sexy quadrate Venus, I'm just noticing. So yeah, that can be a part of our emotional processing around this stuff. Did I say that Mars is trine Juno? I think so. So yeah, we can be very much emotionally processing the hidden beneath the surface, more psychological underpinning things that have been running our relationships from the depths of our psyche, of our subconscious, you know? And so it's really about going into those cobweb corners and having the bravery to feel what is there, what is the residual or leftover emotions that are there that want to be felt, so that we can really culminate this last evolutionary period primarily being about relating patterns and move forward into the next one, right, which is really going to be preparing us for launching forward in utilizing our own unique gifts for healing, for the collective, for whatever mission we feel that we are called to be and embody and live here on this planet. And so I want to end this video by talking about some personal, professional stuff. I have been my career up until recently has been within the field of social work. And, you know, when we have all of these big astrology events happening, like Pluto is now in Aquarius for the next 20 years, the nodes are shifting amongst other things, right? We can feel a lot of things culminating and shifting and changing. And this year certainly is a year where there is a lot culminating, a lot coming to a close, and new beginnings are sprouting forward. And so what can be happening right now is there can be this, like, you know, the straw that breaks the camel's back, you know, that sort of phenomenon. And I had one of these moments with the field of social work where became very clear to me that I am really, really done with that field. It's time to close that chapter. And I'm a foundations gal. I like to look at the foundation of any societal structure. I believe that is where we can understand, really the truth around the complexities of why it can get so awry. That's where we can assess the health or unhealthiness, helpfulness or unhelpfulness. And the whole field of social work actually started with this sort of like crusade, convert, and condemn kind of mission, where it was religious folks having this desire to implore their good efforts onto the undesirables in hopes that they would want to morally transform themselves and, you know, change and turn to God and really like turn their lives around. And really that to me speaks volumes to what the field of social work has been, and it has been a tool for colonization. It has been a tool for oppression. It has been a tool for surveillance, while simultaneously outwardly telling folks that it is a tool for helpfulness and for support. And so again, we see this dichotomy, right? This dissonance between what is being said and what is effectively true. And so it is important to me that I also am not, you know, saying that 100% the field of social work is bad or anything like that. There certainly are excellent projects. There certainly are excellent social workers doing really important work in the world, and it will forever have a very special place in my heart. However, it is time for me to fully close that chapter. Why? Because even as I was a young social worker at the age of 21, my intention, my desire was to go to the root level, actually seed level healing with people. That's what I wanted to do. So no wonder I couldn't find anybody to, you know, employ me where I could actually really uphold those ethics. And and I did in some ways, and thank you to everyone who I collaborated with on those projects. It was amazing. However, I'm starting Soul's Compass Healing. It's been a thing now for a couple of years, and I am really excited to move forward in this service and in this offering. And I'm speaking to this because I want y'all to know what informs my background, the journey of what has led me here. It has been very much a lifelong calling that I continue to answer. And I don't know where this journey is going to lead me, but right now I'm offering one-on-one support sessions where I incorporate evolutionary astrology and energy reading and past life reading to really do just that, which my soul desired in the first place, which was to assist people on accessing that seed level healing with them. And so I'm very excited to close this chapter officially on the field of social work, and just to publicly state that, I am here being guided in my work by, the inexplainable. I am being guided in my work by spirit. That is what my work is centered around. And so if you are interested in understanding more about my work, you can visit my website. It is always linked in the description of my videos. And I look forward to, hearing from you. And I hope that you have found this video to be helpful. Please share this video with friends so that this Soul's Compass Healing channel can continue to grow and reach more folks. And thank you so much for tuning in.